he was one of the ones I was really quite keen on as well. I have very fond memories, if you know what I mean.
I do.
Of a summer in
all right.
the 80s.
All right.
There was a particular party.
All right.
No.
Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Hello.
Morning, Tobbert. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Thanks for being so accommodating.
What do you call this? 11:33. You're 4 minutes
sorry.
late. You're 3 or 4 minutes late, beloved.
I know. I was scrambling around to get the microphone plugged in.
But it actually obliges me to practice patience. I sit here and I think, well, she's late, but I will possess my soul in patience.
Yeah, I've been up for hours doing things and rejigging things and doing all that stuff. So, yeah. How are you?
Well, I can match your weather today. You've got 15, so have we.
Yeah, well, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not even sunny here today.
Oh, it's sunny here. It's a beaut day here.
Oh. All right, so England wins over Greece.
Well, as you can see on Facebook already, all the Brits are unfeasibly cheerful because we've had 2 or 3 sunny days on the trot.
Well, we've had 2 or 3 rainy days on the trot.
Well, it's actually, funnily enough, it often seems to be the way.
I know. But soon, it will be relentlessly sunny every single day.
Yes. What I mean is it's yin and yang. When we have it nice, you don't, and vice versa.
Exactly. So how's your week been?
Well, I'm going to tell you a story, first of all, that you probably have heard, but I'm doing it for the benefit of the listeners, is that several people have tagged me. In fact, a frightening number of people have tagged me on a post on Facebook about the grammar vigilante of Bristol. Do you know this story?
Oh, is this the one who goes around with his apostrophizer?
He goes around in the middle of the night correcting apostrophes on shop signs. I mean, I love this man. I have a sneaking regard for him and a terror of becoming him, actually.
I love the fact he's made his own gadget.
Well, he has. He's made a thing, a bit like your spider catcher. He's made a thing called an apostrophizer. And but what I love about him is, he's been correcting shop signs for a decade or more. He's, the Banksy of the apostrophe. And apostrophes are his speciality. I love that. Imagine being able to say apostrophe is my speciality. The funny thing is, the first person to tag me was my cousin Jane, who's a relatively new Facebook friend because we haven't known each other since we were children, but we met each other at an auntie's funeral about 2 or 3 years ago. So she already knows, from only knowing me for a couple of years, that I have a grammar enthusiasm. And Marion and I can debate a comma for quite a long time, it would have to be said. His best quote, the apostrophizer, the grammar vigilante, is he denies that it's a crime, saying, it's more of a crime to have the apostrophes wrong in the first place. I love him, but please don't let me become him, Nicola.
Well, I don't know if I can do anything about what you become or not.
Well, if you see signs of me starting to get vigilante clothing and ladders and equipment and going out in the middle of the night correcting signs, then the writing's on the wall. If you're
I shall rest easy in my bed on that one because
yes. No, I don't think so. But it is all I can do not to correct the internet. But I do speak sharply to myself. I go, oh, get over it. It really isn't that important. That's why I don't want to become him, because I don't think it's that important. I love him for his kind of single-minded pursuit of the protectionism of the English language. But at the same time, it was a bit like when I nearly became the champion of the people without the television license. And then you think, you know what? There's so many more important things in this life. Just crack on.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do love people with passion. Passion is
and it's a lovely story as well. And it is something that I care about, just not as much as the number of people who tag me on Facebook think I do, I think. But It was lovely to be thought of in that same way. And it is a great story.
So, well, is that it for your week?
That is it. Well, that's one of my best things of my week. I thought I'd just start with that. You go.
Okay. Very good. Well, it's nearly time for us to go home. We've only got a week and a half to go.
Yeah.
And the weather's just starting to really improve, so I'm a bit reluctant, I have to say, but I know that the kids are looking forward to seeing us, and kids as such. This week, Pefco reopens, which is an
I saw. I mean, that's quite newsworthy in your neck of the woods, isn't it?
Well, it's a regular, and it's Elias's taverna, and his wife Stella cooks the traditional Greek food extremely well. I mean, sliced aubergines, deep fried, second to none.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about it was that we walked up a deserted track to get our fresh mountain spring water from the tap. And we saw someone coming down who we knew, and they said, "Oh, Pefco's is opening tonight," because it's always been, Elias has had a tough old winter, really, what with relatives and things like that. So it's been opening later than it would normally. But the fact that the word got around via the water taps made me chuckle. And then we got there, and I said to Sarah, every other taverna in town is going to be absolutely deserted. And it was absolutely, every table was taken on his little thing that overlooked the bay. And it says something for his reputation and his joie de vivre and those of his waiters that it's such a popular place, and it can be shut all winter. And the minute it opens, people flock to it. It's quite amazing, really.
Yeah.
So the other thing about this week is that I've been doing a Chris Barrow exercise that he shared this morning. Your 5 best achievements in the last 90 days. Your 5 areas of focus and progress for the next 90 days.
Oh, hang on slowly, because I'm writing it down. 5 best areas of achievement.
In the last 90 days. It's a quarterly review, basically.
Yeah.
5 areas of focus and progress that are making you most confident right now.
In the next 90 days.
Well, it doesn't actually say that. It says 5 areas of focus and progress making you confident right now.
Well, you might have to copy and paste this to me later, please.
Right, yeah. And then it goes 3 to 5 things giving me a sense of excitement right now.
Yeah.
And then the final one is 5...
Well, I'd like to have a go at this later. I might even write a blog post about it.
Yeah. 5 multipliers to utilise in the next 90 days.
Oh, yeah, that went a bit Chris Barrowish, that one, but that's okay.
Well, I liked it.
Yeah, well, you would.
Yeah. Anyway, so thank you, Chris, for that, because it gave me a little pause and reflection moment in the bed this morning.
I like the 3 to 5 excitement, and my best achievements in the last 90 days is quite nice, yes.
He does it every quarter, apparently, and it's interesting to him what he ditches.
Yes. Well, copy and paste it if you wouldn't mind, and then I'll put it in the show notes, and we can all have a go.
Okay, all right. And then the final thing is that I've got a couple of people who are interested in my Be Everywhere Online mastermind level, which is where I hold people's hand through 12 weeks of intense content creation and syndication. And there's 2 levels of the mastermind. I know I'm not supposed to overcomplicate things, but it's swiftly becoming apparent there are 2 types of people. There is the type of person with a VA of their own already, or a small team that can execute for them. And I just have to do pure coaching and hand-holding on that one. And the other type of people are the people who don't have that, won't have time to put it in place, and so are looking for a done-for-you service. Now, I've never to go down the road of done-for-you again, but I might if it's just for a 12-week period.
We did talk about that last week, actually. So you're moving slightly further towards them.
Well, it's just that there are more of those.
Yeah.
Because I seem to attract people who are very much starting out, or they.
Yeah, for now. But I think we could search and search out the other audience if that's your preferred.
It is, yeah, because it's just more efficient, really.
Yeah. So surely it's just a retargeting, refocusing. It's one of your Chris Barrow answers. Retargeting, refocusing towards that audience, isn't it?
Yeah, it's people who've got a proper business. People like.
You should start. We need to find ways for you to start talking to them somehow.
Well, I do try and talk to them always. That's who I target. But it's just that I attract people who are not starting out in life, starting out.
No.
Starting out online.
Yes.
I just seem to attract those people.
Yeah, well, I don't think one can switch the focus overnight. I think that because you've worked in that area for such a long time, there's this residual thing of turning the ship.
Yeah, but I do have a very effective way of, if people haven't got a clue and haven't got an online any business at all, I just direct them to Sarah Starr nowadays, because she's just brilliant at working with people who want to become affiliate marketers rather than develop a product of their own. Yes,
nice. And has she got an affiliate scheme for you?
Yes, she has, and it's very generous.
Lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's been my week, really.
Okay.
fueled your fire?
I've got a handful of fresh clients in my diary this month, April, which is already short because we lose a Friday and a Monday to Easter, and I'm having a day off because it's my birthday later in the month. So I've got 3 business days down, and I've only got certain amounts. I actually at one point thought I'm going to have to open up some extra slots in my online diary because my clients were struggling to get a look in. And actually at the moment, my online diary is full, unless you want a Saturday slot in April. And that's a bad thing because every Friday's newsletter is inviting people to book in. So I need to open up some new slots. But the point of this story is I've met 2 strangers since we last met, you and I, since we last spoke last Wednesday. And I really like meeting strangers because I sit here and I think, ooh, I'm going to meet somebody and they're going to tell me all about their business. And, I'm going to be able to, usually some of the biggest changes I can help them achieve are in that very first phone call, which is exciting. Yeah. And usually about how pathetic they were feeling about themselves, but how much better it is actually when I look at it, if you know what I mean. Yeah. But the thing they both had in common, these women, in the last week, which is fascinating, actually. I don't know that you'll be as fascinated by it as I am, but they've both come from professional and orthodox careers, and they're moving to making businesses out of their burgeoning interest in spirituality.
Oh.
So one, I'm not going to say too much because she's a very private person, was a professional in the health field and was working with people's bodies, and she decided after studying her own interests she'd rather work with their soul. And the other one had been a very, very successful saleswoman, businesswoman, high earning, high achieving. And when she described to me what she did, I went, oh my word, that's incredibly woo-woo, but in a sort of Byron Katie, Brandon Bayes kind of a way. Nothing, she's got her own patented process that she puts people through in 6 weeks, which is life-changing. But it's odd that in 1 week, and actually the one I spoke to yesterday was right, I think. She said she basically was saying is that we're on the tipping point of more people fessing up to the fact that they're more interested in this than they've ever been before. And actually, off the call, I'd like to tell you a bit more about it because it's very pertinent to your neck of the woods geographically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you'll like the story when you hear it.
Okay. It's just the word spirituality that puts me off, and then everything you went on.
Well, the alternative for me was to say woo-woo. It just means mind, body, spirit. It means the spirit bit, your soul bit, that's not your mind or your body.
Yeah, I like the word soul better.
Okay, well, let's not put any weight on the word.
Yeah, okay.
It just means that other dimension of people's lives.
Yeah, the happiness dimension.
I think actually if you're a more spiritual person, happiness might be one of the outcomes.
Yeah, well, being a more self-aware person's happiness is often one of the outcomes.
Well, you see, what you're doing is you're stripping out of it what you think I'm inferring, which is you think I'm inferring religion by spirituality, and I'm not.
Yeah.
And it's really all matters esoteric and woo-woo. And what the second woman was saying, and I'll tell you this off the call because it's more interesting for you because of the geography, is that people are ready for it now, and I think she's right. And she's come from this orthodox. She's not come from like me. I've been interested in woo-woo since I was 13. She's come from this incredibly orthodox mainstream career where it wasn't even considered. That's what was the fascinating point about it, I think.
I think that do you think it's a zeitgeist kind of thing?
Well, I think that's what she made me realise yesterday afternoon. I mean, you see that. I mean, all of us who've followed Louise Hay for decades, all of the people, or a lot of the people she puts on the stage now, have got scientific proof of stuff. They've even proved in the last week that your soul lives on after you die. Scientists have proved that. And nobody believed that for 30 years, except people like me who took it on trust and were prepared to. And now the scientists are proving all of this stuff. So it's a funny old time where the science and woo-woo are coming together in a good way for all of us, I think.
I'd like to read that stuff about the soul living on.
Yeah, it's on Facebook. I'll find it and send it over to you. Yeah.
Talking of which, I did have a very wonderful dream about Steve the other night, and I had to tell his mother because he was wearing a very fetching black onesie.
Funnily enough, I think I've had a dream about Steve in the last week or 10 days as well. I've forgotten what it was, but I thought I'd mention it to you, and then I thought, well, I can't remember what.
I'm good now. I'm good.
It was a strange combination of people, but I think Steve was in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
When you think about
Steve. and like he would ever be seen in a onesie ever.
Well, I know. Well, that's the bizarre thing about dreams, isn't it?
It is. So, okay. So, well, I look forward to that conversation. I look forward to seeing the stuff about the song.
Yes. Tell me what's fueled your fire.
Well, what's fueled my fire is I'm continuing in the Be Everywhere Online vein and the leveraging of content vein. And we suddenly realised that we could turn the V-zine into a video podcast on iTunes. So, they do audio podcasts. Well, there's also a big thing in videos, but not so many people are doing them. So it's a good opportunity to, and we realised it wouldn't actually need any work at all.
Brilliant.
Obviously, well, Sarah just squawked what, but so obviously there's a lot of work setting it up for Sarah, but the actual video V-zine doesn't need anything doing to it. Apart from, I don't know, well, in fact, nothing except uploading.
So it's a finished product in itself.
Yeah. But then we realised that I could save the audio from it, and with a bit of editing to obviously cut down the bits where there's music and no action. Not that Phoebe would ever agree there's any action in my VC. We've got an octopus this week. We're going to turn it into an audio podcast as well. So, and the other interesting thing that's really filled my fire, reaching a whole new audience, which I'm not reaching at the moment, apart from own it, obviously. But the other interesting thing is that all this extra activity is starting to show benefits already. As I say, the mastermind inquiries, and I also got a request to be on a video podcast of someone else's the other day. I mean, unfortunately, it did involve. Their diary turned out to only have slots between 2 and 4 a.m., which I'm not prepared to do. But I've gone back to them and said, "Can you do any other times?" So they're obviously in Australia. But I'm definitely seeing an upsurge in inquiries, in contact, in requests for things, just from all this activity I'm doing.
Well, that's good, because a month ago you were depressed that it wasn't moving fast enough, and I said stick in there, stick in there, stick in there, and there you go. With a month later, it turns around. Brilliant. I
know, and the whole thing, the interesting thing about fueling my fire, the whole Be Everywhere Online thing, the leveraging of content, I feel really quite passionate about it, because I feel that nobody really is doing it, and it's a niche that I could make my own. Like everyone's signature kind of program.
Yes.
Because I have been doing it for a long time. Neil and I started in 2012, and it's something that I'm very passionate about, especially about getting the systems for it going. I'm about to do a spreadsheet for my students.
Oh, dear.
I know. I've done a spreadsheet for myself this week for my social media sharing. So I've gone all spreadsheety, Judith.
Well, I like a spreadsheet, as you know, but I mean, it's interesting that one can do so many things on a spreadsheet. Don't get me started. Listen, because actually you're just writing words on this, aren't you?
Yeah. And but there's going to be a 12-week schedule.
Yeah.
Of what to do on what day for which week.
Yes.
So by the end of the 12 weeks, you've produced 12 bits of video content, and it gets leveraged across all the social media platforms. But the spreadsheet is a task list.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is that people, you and I both turn to a spreadsheet to do that. But actually, you don't need a spreadsheet to do that, because, of course, the point of a spreadsheet normally is to add up and multiply and subtract and divide.
Yes. And it is just words, you're right. It's not
it's just words.
But I had the blindingly brilliant idea, which I'm parking for now, you'll be glad to hear, that spreadsheet could then be turned into a bit of software. So people...
Oh, God, Zoltan.
Yeah, Zoltan's back. He doesn't know it yet, but he's about to be retrieved into my life from Eastern Europe. Bless him.
So if we turn it into a piece of software, it'll be free to clients and a payable download for non-clients.
Possibly, yes. And what you do is you put in your 12, you think about what 12 bits of content you'll create over the next quarter. I like the fact it fits into a quarter rather neatly as well. Then you plug in your bits of content, and it will actually tell you which task to do on which day with which bit of content on which platform.
Well, 12 weeks into a quarter gives you a week's holiday as well. Nice.
Week holiday. No, because
it's 13 weeks in a quarter. You've got a spare week in your quarter.
No, well, you don't with this, because it'd be a rolling program. You never stop with your leverage. But it's not you that does it. Remember, it's not you that does it.
I understand. I was joking, really. I was just saying, remember to have some time off.
Yeah, well, I don't need to, because I love what I do.
No, you don't.
But the interesting thing about this is that, I just think it could be so wonderful for people to think, okay, what's my next quarter's worth of content going to be about? So, like Bernadette...
It's a mechanic fest. People who like to plan their social media stuff and schedule it and all that, it's a fest for them. They'd love it.
But it's not just for mechanics. I'm a creator.
No, they're planning, I'm saying.
Yeah, but I'm a creator, and I honestly, I never thought I'd want something like this, but I've realised that unless I've got a schedule to stick to, I end up just flooding.
Yes, no, I knew that, because you had to get up the equivalent when we were marketing the summit, if you remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you like to showcase your business, product or service to between 400 to 600 highly engaged solopreneurs and business owners every week? We can offer a 30-second mid-roll slot and sponsorship branding on our website and in our private Facebook group. Just contact Nicola at nicolacairncross.com for more details.
So, client challenge of the week.
Yeah, I'm ready.
It's come out of a conversation I had with Phoebe yesterday, who was having a massive attack of comparisonitis.
Oh dear.
And Gary V had a very interesting call from a 22-year-old a while ago, and she was having comparisonitis. Basically, it's where you look at other people and you think you're not good enough. You look at what other people are achieving, you think you're not achieving enough. But it leads to paralysis and Phoebe was, she's got 60, 70 videos on YouTube now. And she's just reached a point where she's thinking, it's never going to work, nothing's happening, I'm never going to attract any clients, paying clients, even though she has, and she was just on a real downer about everything. And that led her to feel so demotivated that she was completely paralysed. And when you're paralysed with demotivation, you don't take any action. And by not taking any action, you're guaranteeing you're not going to get any results. And I just wondered if we could talk about this comparisonitis a bit.
Yeah.
Have we talked about it recently? I think we have.
We have, but it's a recurring theme, so I don't think it matters. I'm amazed by how often my clients bring that up, actually.
Yeah.
And it's close cousin, which is what will people think.
Yeah, see, that's a completely alien one for us too, isn't it?
Well, I don't really get either of these, but I'm prepared to discuss them because I know it's really real. And I get that negative spiral where comparisonitis leads to paralysis, demotivation, what's the point? I get that very much. But do you know what I was thinking while you were telling that story? I was thinking, like mother, like daughter, because a month ago you were worried that everything you were doing wasn't working either.
Well, and to be honest, I've had it this week again because, doing a V-zine is actually putting myself right out of my comfort zone.
Yeah. I
compare myself to people like Bernadette Doyle, who are 7 to 10 years ahead of me. And I can't help it. And I compare, obviously Phoebe compares herself creatively to people like Casey Neistat and D-Rock. And I compare myself to, people who are further ahead on the path than me. And the other thing is that when I had to send back the V-zine last night, this week's V-zine, because Phoebe, I give a really good free rein to make Ma look a bit, it's tongue-in-cheek, it's amusing. I know I'm never going to be a svelte, 30-something glamour puss, which is what you see, even Denise Duffield-Thomas looks glamorous most of the time on her videos. But that's because she's, although she came to see us in the Money Gym when she was in London, she's been at it for 10 years. She's got the team to make her look gorgeous. But I have it, and I do know how it feels, and I do know how real it is, and I just have to force myself out of my comfort zone to produce that V-zine every week. And but I'm just so convinced that video is going to be so important in the next few years. Video and mobile is just good. Anyone in marketing, it's just the most powerful way to make a connection with your audience, and it's the most incredibly powerful way to create content that can be leveraged. So I think we've really got to force ourselves to, not you, Judith, obviously, because
obviously, yeah.
Well, because you hate it, and your marketing is working for you as it is, so you don't need to. But the fastest, and that's the other thing, people want fast results, and the fastest way to get results online now in your marketing is to use video. It's also the cheapest way, and it's the most leverageable way. But it's tough because you end up looking at your competitors, you end up looking at people who've been doing it for 10 years ahead of you. it just...
How would it be, when I was listening to you there, if it were me and I were looking at Bernadette and Denise, I wouldn't be comparing myself. I would be drawing inspiration from them.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So my first tip here, not just to you, but to everybody, is don't compare yourself and judge yourself against that. Just take inspiration from that.
Yeah. And I've got a new client myself who is actually brilliant on video, but she's a star creator profile, and she's I've seen her on video. I've seen her do Facebook Lives, and she's really, really good. But she hasn't done much of it because she finds it so. Again, she's comparing herself to people who've been doing it week in, week out.
Yeah.
Creating video for their clients, creating video for their membership sites. People who can just turn a camera on and not think about it. Whose makeup's perfect.
Well, we all know we'll end up there if we keep persevering. I think, funny enough, the demotivation and the paralysis, I don't think if it's a problem if you wallow in it for 48 hours. But on the third day, you've got to go, right, come on then, let's get up and have another go.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did try to brace Phoebe and say to her, look, the thing that you and Nelson have got going for you that other people don't is that your creativity. And creativity is never going to be able to be replaced by a robot. So, if you can do the things that most people won't do, i.e. talk to a camera, be creative, create new products and services, they'll never be replaced.
I also think there's another aspect here which came to mind when you were describing my video isn't as good as Bernadette's or Denise's, and I'm not spelt and blah, 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 is that rough and ready, bish, bash, bosh, bang it out thing that you've got, was what made you attractive to a good chunk of the people that we worked with in the Money Gym. Because if the leader or guru is too far ahead, people don't come and work with you because they think, oh, she won't want me as a client. She's too good. Steve, do you remember Steve said to me in Gatwick once, I hope one day I'll be good enough to be coached by you. You don't have to be good enough to be coached by anybody, but people think they need to be closer to your level before they can work with you. And of course, the thing is, your level is always going further ahead. And, so actually it's one of your strengths, and it might explain why you're attracting those startup people. Because I can remember devoted fans of yours, and I still see them online. And what they're devoted to is the fact that it isn't perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I've just
because that inspires them. That inspires ordinary people to go, look, it's not all that polished. I could probably have a go at this.
Yeah.
So I'm saying you take inspiration from Bernadette and Denise, but know that you're inspiring people to have a go at the who are behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the Be Everywhere Online course, I record a bit of content. It's actually appeared in the V-Zine since then. And I show them how I plan it out quickly, what I want to say, and how I have to, I got Sarah to film me filming myself so that they could see that I have to stop several times and remind myself what I'm saying. I have to look in my notebook. I have to gaze off into the distance while I'm trying to work out what I want to say next. And so I showed them and put the raw video in week 1 to show them how I plan it and record it. And then I show them the edited version, as it's been edited, it could be by Phoebe or anyone, in week 2. So they can see the difference between what's, how tight and coherent and less rambling I am.
All right, so let me ask you a question then for the benefit of the listener on this topic. So when you compare yourself to those people and feel wanting, how do you then get back into action?
Well, good question. Yeah, how do you get back into action?
No, how do you get back into action? Because you do. That's the point. You do.
Yeah, I do. Because there's no choice, Judith. If you don't do it, nothing's going to happen.
Mm.
I'm very, 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 very aware of that every single day I have to get up and I have to make something happen, because if I don't, nobody else is going to.
Yeah.
And I think...
Okay. And so actually that's not the case for some people, is it?
No, it isn't. Because often they've got cushions and...
Yes, or other halves or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Yes. So actually that's a motivator. That's always been a motivator of mine as well, is that if I don't do it, it's not going to happen. What else? What else can we do here? Well, stop it immediately would be my favourite. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Do you know why we should stop comparing ourselves to other people? Because the most unattractive thing you could possibly become would be a clone of Bernadette or Denise.
Oh, totally, yeah.
We're all unique, and we've all got something to offer the world in a combination. If we were like a recipe, you know, you'd have 10% of this and 20% of that, and I'd have 20% of this and 10% of that. Do you know what I mean? We're all unique. So why are we looking at other people and thinking we're not them? I'm looking at other people and thinking I'm not them. Hooray, I'm not them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be like anybody else. I wouldn't want to be like another single living human being. I want to have stuff in common with them. I don't want to be able to relate to them. And I want to be able to, oh, me too. But I don't want to be like anybody else. I don't want to be, who needs another one of those in the world?
Yeah. I think, you know, with Phoebe, I had to let her go through it, and she actually went off and cooked herself a really nice dinner, and she said that was very therapeutic and made her feel looked after and loved by herself. And because I think the thing that triggered all this off is her dad's buggered off to Cambodia for 2 weeks, so she's feeling a little bit lost and lonely.
Yeah. So actually, interestingly, it was the emotional circumstances in the same week, not the comparisonitis alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's the case for all of us. So actually, a good answer to this would be, how can I go and make myself feel better about myself?
State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it could be, for a lot of people, it's exercise, gratitude, something there that pampers yourself, Phoebe's example. I mean, lots of ways to shake yourself out of it. You just really need to catch yourself on that you're doing it. You're sinking down into it before you go from looking at, you know, I'm using Bernadette and Denise as an example.
Yeah.
It could be anybody. Before Phoebe goes to look at, you know, Casey or Gary, before you notice you're sinking down into yet another one of those that makes you feel bad about yourself by comparison, you've got to go off and do something that makes you feel good about yourself, haven't you?
Yeah. And, you know, the other thing, as I said to her, I said, you know, you've got a paying client, me, and your paying client is waiting for her V-zine.
Yes.
She's now got a spreadsheet that tells her that she needs it by Tuesday.
Yes, and actually, if it wasn't you, if it was somebody more arm's length, she wouldn't be able to indulge in this luxury.
No, she wouldn't. And I said, the other thing is, you know, the thing I find is taking action jolts you out of your paralysis.
Oh, totally agree. Yeah. And actually, we'll go back to the old Michael Neal thing, which is, if I don't feel like taking action because this has brought me very low, well, you know, I'm not going to go for a run. I'm just going to put my trainers on and stand outside the front door. And, you know, I'm not going to do my expenses. I'll just get the file out. You can trick yourself into, you know, I'm not going to mow the lawn. I'm just going to get the mower out. You can trick yourself into taking action.
Yeah, and she absolutely loves editing. I mean, I can tell, you know, by the way she was laughing at me about certain things she'd done in this week's one. You know, I knew that if I could just get her editing something, she would then, she's got stuff, you know.
Well, do you know what's good about that? I mean, what do all of these be everywhere online people need? An editor.
Well, totally, yes.
I mean, the world needs editors. I wouldn't know where to begin with editing anything.
No,
and so I'm thinking, oh, great, she's got a skill set that's useful.
Totally, yes. And the idea is obviously that as I build my business up, my clients will need.
Yeah, but what's even better about that is, you know, as she does more and more paid for editing, she'll feel better and better about herself, because there's nothing so great for one's self-esteem as a paying client who loves what you've done for them and pays you as well.
Yeah, and I fixed her up with a mate of mine who is an international gamification consultant, and she shadowed him for 2 days, and she's got so much footage, and she interviewed him and she filmed him speaking, and she went to the Brighton Chamber of Commerce breakfast at Carluccio's. That I never thought she'd go to that. And, you know, she's got all this sitting waiting to be edited, and I thought if I could just get her working on something, it'll jolt her out of it. So if you do the actual it makes you feel better.
And also, what are the things that we all know raise our vibration? Listening to music?
Yes. Dancing?
I'd like to go for a little drive with the music on, actually.
Yes, well, exactly. You speeding through London with the top down and your music playing.
Yeah, or somebody, you know, in this weather, go for a walk. That might not like Phoebe's candle. That's a bit of an older person's thing, but something that you know always makes you feel. So pottering makes me feel great. I've often said this before. Having a pot of something in the kitchen that I'm stirring. Yeah. But it is exactly what Phoebe said, is self-nurturing, because it'll be a lovely supper later.
Yeah, exactly. So have we covered all?
Well, we'll come back to comparisonitis endlessly, but what you've said is really useful, which is that it leads to paralysis, demotivation, and nothing happening.
Inaction and no result.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the end of the world for 2 days, but I do think in those, it doesn't matter to me whether you wallow in that for half an hour or 2 days, but on the third day, you've got to pull yourself together.
I think 1 day is acceptable too.
Well, I do, but I think, I think if you'd spent a lot of time, we've got to honour our feelings and emotions and moods. And if a client says to me, I've lost a few days this week, I'm not bothered because we've got, 70 years and 10.
Yeah. But, coming back to this thing about, thoughts become things, think good ones, our thoughts direct our feelings. So Phoebe's having negative thoughts, which are making her feel bad, which is affecting her action taking, which is then affecting her results.
Well, quite. And so therefore you've got to talk to a motivator like me who can get you back up on your feet.
Yeah, she wasn't having it. She went off for a shower and I was trying to motivate her.
Well, a shower would do it. A shower would do it for me, or a nap would do it for me as well. It's just a mood changer, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So do anything you can to change your mood and catch yourself when you're talking bad to yourself.
And remember what you love and just start some of it. Remember what you love in your work. So if she loves editing in her work, just start with a little bit of editing. And 5 hours later, she'll discover that she's got sucked into the whole project.
Yeah, exactly. And only by creating these videos, different variety of them, will she find the niche that's going to pay her to do it.
I think actually behind that as well, for you and her and all of us, is that when we're new at something, we feel particularly vulnerable and not very good yet. But actually, the only solution to that is more of it.
Yeah, it is. 10,000 hours, Judith. You've got to get this.
Yeah, I know. I saw you say a result on somebody's comment this week, and that is the only answer. Is let's just do some more so I get better.
Yes, and that's why you've got to pick something you really, really enjoy, because she loves it. Most people think of editing as actually a very boring thing, but it's actually a very creative process. She has to choose music to go with the action. She has to cut out the bits, chop it all up. And, it's just really creative process for her, and she loves it.
Well, I mean, if you look at movies in Hollywood, it's all in the edit.
Yeah, very true, very true. Right, word of the week then.
Yeah, I'm going with April.
Okay.
It's my birthday month. It's the beginning of things. It's a nice, unique word. The only other word I could think of like April was Aperol, which is what all the cool kids are drinking at the moment. There's not another word like April. No,
it's quite an interesting word. Anytime you ever mention your birthday, I'm always reminded of that pink cowboy hat line dancing.
Yeah, absolutely right. Coming up for 12 years ago, that. But it's funny how you have a little attachment to your birthday month and a little attachment to your name, those sort of personal things. But if you write it down, there isn't another word like that.
No. I'm loving all the celebrities that are wearing Queens Were Born in September, because September's my birthday month.
It is indeed, yes. And what is that all about, Queens Were Born in September?
I don't know. It's a T-shirt that's just taken the celebrity world by storm. Beyonce and Rihanna and people like that.
Were they all born in September?
They must be, or they wouldn't be wearing it, surely.
Oh, okay, I don't know. I need to find out. There's my natural thing. What's that all about then? I'll need to find that out.
Yes, because we're curious, aren't we?
Indeed we are. Tell me your word of the week.
Repurposing.
Ooh.
I haven't used that one. I've used leverage.
Yeah, so repurposing is a horrible Americanism. I know what it means, and say more about it.
Well, because we decided on the audio podcast, I decided on the audio podcast that I would like to repurpose the Business Success Factory interviews, some of them, the best ones. So I have been editing 3 of those, and I'm starting with the 6 that I put into the book, Mindset, Marketing and Money, because that makes sense to me to do those first. And I'm every 3 V-zines that go onto the audio podcast, I'm going to do an interview. So 3 in that's 1 a month then. And it's repurposing really, it's that thing you said has really stuck with me, that if you love your content, you have to share it.
Yeah.
And those interviews were brilliant. And really deep and really moving. I mean, Ryan Levesque, he's really famous now for this Ask Method thing. And I interviewed him before the book came out, so it's as relevant and timeless and evergreen, that content, as it can be. And so I'm editing, I'm taking out all references to Business Success Factory, and I'm just sharing again with my new audience on iTunes. And so repurposing evergreen content is my word of the week.
And can I ask about the Be Everywhere Online and clicks and leads? You're not tempted yet to... So is Be Everywhere Online a sort of sub thing of clicks and leads, or you're not tempted to turn everything over to Be Everywhere Online as the brand?
Well, no, the brand is Nicola Cairncross, really, still. And
I think doesn't the V-zine go out with clicks and leads branding on it?
It does. I've started branding things clicks and leads as well, because clicks and leads is the company, Nicola Cairncross is the personal brand, and Be Everywhere Online is a course within that clicks and leads company. That's how I'm seeing it fitting together.
Okay. In the end, I'm going to probably recommend some streamlining.
Yeah, I thought you might. I'll tell you what it is, okay, because we've got a little bit of time because project updates are always so dull. I can't quite let go of the clicks and leads agency idea, because I've got this thing that, clients will come for the Be Everywhere Online thing. They want to be everywhere online, but some are going to need more help than others, and clicks and leads is the company that would fulfill the done for you side of things.
Okay. Because
it brings clicks and leads if you do good social media.
Okay. All right.
That's how I see it fitting together, and I really need it separate to nicolacairncross.com, because Nicola Cairncross is my personal brand, which I'll be taking with me going forward.
Yeah.
Clicks and leads could be sold. That's the thing. It's the exit.
Yeah.
If it turns into a successful done-for-you social media social media and ads agency, I don't want to do it right now. I was building it, as you know, before. I lost it, but I can see the day when I might want to come back to it.
All right. Okay. Fair enough for now. Yeah.
Okay, so project updates. I'm not prepared today, so let's just have a quick look at what's going on.
Give me a tiny, just do lip sync. That will do.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
Give me something to be cheerful about, Nicola.
Reasons to be cheerful.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, good old Ian Jury in the block.
Yeah, he's gone, hasn't he, Ian? He shuffled off upstairs, I think, didn't he?
One of my ex-boyfriends died this week.
Oh.
Quite, he was one of the ones I was really quite keen on as well. I have very fond memories, if you know what I mean.
I do.
Of a summer in
all right.
the 80s.
All right.
There was a particular party.
All right.
No. And it's really funny because the guy who's organising the funeral is Kim's ex-boyfriend.
Oh dear, that's all a bit. What's the word for that? All a bit incestuous, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but we didn't actually all go out together at the same time. But anyway, it's funny because I've had this conversation with him where we've realised it's about 40 years ago since we last saw each other. But he remembers me and I remember him. And hang on, let me just concentrate this on for a second. He's got sons of 22. It's just really weird that we've all not been in touch, and this guy dying has sort of brought everyone out the woodwork, so to speak.
Oh, yes, right.
As it does. It's a shame it doesn't happen before, isn't it? Oh, it's quite good.
Oh, there's a big spike at the end of March.
Yeah, we had a spike at the end of March, and look, solid follow-up. It's because for the benefit of the listener, what happens is you get sort of a zigzag line with your stats. And every time an episode's released, you get a bit of a spike, but then it falls back usually quite dramatically to...
Oh, but it doesn't this week.
No, it doesn't. A solid spike.
It stays up there like a Princess Disney castle.
Yeah, it looks much more like the Disney.
With turrets on.
Yeah, exactly. Turrets around the main turret.
Is that so? That last highest point going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that a week? March the 31st. Yes, it is. Hover over that again. That's March the 31st. So actually, then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, they're high.
Strong downloads on the following 4 days as well.
Yeah.
So let's just. This is what I normally do. I normally go 10 days. Strong.
Oh, look at that! 10 days is strongly up. Woohoo!
It was down the last 10 days, so that's good. In 7 days, it can change, and then we've got a month, which is
slightly up.
Yeah, steady up, and then 3 months. Down.
No, down. Yeah, it's because of that big spike up there.
It's still because of that big spike.
Yeah.
A year is upward though.
Slightly, it is. Yeah, 3 ups and 1 down. That works for me.
3 ups and 1 down.
Yeah, that's the right ratio.
And the down we know is because of that big spike.
Yeah, but there you go. There's back to comparisonitis. 3 ups and 1 down. If it's more right than wrong, crack on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the hockey stick curve, which I have every confidence will come at some point.
Right.
Look, last year compared with this year.
Yeah. Oh, that's up quite a lot.
It is.
That's half as much again.
I know.
Oh, and look, some of the interim tall bits of grass are twice the height of. Well, we only had 2 tall bits of grass in year 1.
Exactly. Our listenership is growing on average. That's
right. I'm writing this down. More right than wrong. That's a good thing to live by. That's a good thing to live by, isn't it?
It is. Oh, yeah. The other thing is, obviously, my new daily sharing schedule, social media sharing schedule, it does include Own It. So it will.
Well, that might be responsible for some of this, although actually, no, only recently.
The other thing, just to let you know about Instagram, we do really well on Instagram, Own It. Okay, so Own It, the podcast, which is just where I think Phoebe does this for us. She just shares basically the picture every week. And what does she do? She just does episodes. She just shares a picture and a little description from the website. We've only got 217 followers, but we get very, very high likes, 150.
Now, can I tell you that exactly matches what you told us last week about making more sales to people who came from Instagram on your other thing? So could you please bear in mind that in a future week, in Talent Chime of the Week, you're going to have to talk to us about Instagram because I know nothing about Instagram. And what you're telling me now, 2 weeks running in 2 different projects, is that you're getting significant results from Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's, oh my God, I better go and have a look at some of these comments as well.
So I was talking to a client yesterday and I said, I'm not a visual person, I don't know anything about the visuals, but and Alice is reporting this as well, lots of people are reporting good results from Instagram.
Yes, and there was that little bit of the stat that I saw that triggered me paying more attention to it, which was that people between 50 and 70 are much more likely to make a purchase after doing research, after seeing stuff on Instagram. Yeah,
bizarre. But when you're of a mind, even if it goes over more than 1 week, we need to think more about. You need to educate us more about Instagram.
Okay, well, I'll prepare something for next week then, shall I?
Okay, or next week, or any week you feel like it, basically. Yeah. I feel that's it's looming.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff you could do with it now.
And don't give it to us all in 1 week, that's what I'm suggesting. You might like to break it down into manageable chunks of people.
Okay.
All right.
But, very, very high engagement here. I mean, if you look at it...
Well, there you go. That in itself is enough, isn't it? Very, very high engagement.
Yeah. And
just click on one of them and tell me what she says. There's the picture that we use, which is worth 1,000 words, obviously. Because this is something I could do with every one of my blog posts, isn't it?
Yes, it is, very easily. And she literally just picks out the first paragraph that you write.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant.
Podcast.com on it.
Okay. Brilliant. All right.
There's if you go to Own It, the podcast profile, you can see that we actually have got a special URL that takes them through to a page called Insta.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure that's working. So it's using a plugin that's about out of date now. Yeah, there we go.
And what's the point of that from your perspective, having a special...
Well, it doesn't work anymore because the plugins stopped working. But basically what it used to do, it was called a Pretty Link plugin, and it used to track the number of clicks.
Right, okay.
So we're not tracking that anymore now. But I could look at the Google Analytics to see how much traffic we get.
Yes.
To be honest, we do want people to come through and listen, and I'm sure they do. But this is why I've always had such a big investment in choosing eye-catching pictures for it.
Yeah.
And it really does work because obviously we're getting. I mean, this is so much better than my personal Instagram account in terms of engagement. It's astonishing. So obviously, just having really good pictures just makes a huge difference.
Yes. Okay.
Eye-catching.
All right. Well, one day when we've got nothing better to do, you might need to show me how to do that.
Okay. All right. Who or what's impressed?
Well, I'm slightly worried that you and I are going to pick up the same thing today. Shall I go first, just in case? Daphne's got a new book out for now, Notes on Living a Deliberate Life. Daphne Capsali, who we both loved and who was part of the inspiration for you to go to Stupa. It's out on the 9th, and this recording goes out on the 14th. So Daphne Capsali's new book for now. But the reason why I'm impressed by her is because to those of us who are in her Facebook group or Facebook page, she gave us all a free copy. And she asked us, would you like a free copy? So some of us said yes. And when not enough of us said yes, she asked us again. But what's good about that is we're going to get her feedback. We're going to give her stuff she can use on Blurb. We're going to make noise on social media. I'm mentioning on the podcast. We're going to recommend it. We're going to give her Amazon reviews. Look at that. You give away a free book and you get all of that in return.
Well, this is so interesting, Judith, and it really shows the way that the Facebook algorithm goes, is I haven't seen that offer.
No, I didn't see it the first time round. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, and I don't know whether it's her group or her page, but I realised what the value to her is of giving me a free copy of the book. Because here I am already talking about it on the podcast. I haven't even read it yet.
But the lesson for our listeners is that don't assume that because you put something on a group or a page that everyone who loves you has seen it.
No.
Only the second offer you saw, and I still haven't seen the offers.
Yeah, I know.
So that just shows you've got to keep rotating your offers.
Yes.
Otherwise, you won't get to all the people who like you.
What impressed me about it was having the chutzpah to offer.
Yes.
So, would you like a copy of my free book? Some of my clients would call that pushy.
Really?
Yes, they would, because what they would say is you're foisting your stuff onto other people. Well, you're not. You're offering me something, and I'm going to give you something in return. In fact, Daphne, I've already given you something in return by talking about it today, plugging it on here, knowing there's fans in this group who will be up that, pole like a greased weasel.
Yes, up the pole like a greased weasel, indeed.
Yeah, and of course, and she's apparently I mentioned, probably both of us are mentioned in the thing of this one because we were so instrumental in helping her with the first one by talking about it.
Marvellous.
Yeah,
lovely. She's very good at social media.
She's abundant. She is good at social media. Right now, who or what's impressed you?
Other people who are good at social media, and there's two natural talents that I'm just in awe of. Really, one is Dan Knowlton of Thingy Digital Marketing, KPG. I can never remember the name of his initials. Anyway, Dan Knowlton is fantastic at it, and his brother Lloyd is coming up fast, and he's just an absolute natural. He knows what to do on every platform. He's engaging, he's funny, he shares great information. He's easy on the eye. And it's just really, he just constantly amazes me with how good he is. And, I can't believe I only met him a year ago. It feels like I've known him forever. And he's the one, hilarious enough, that my daughter Phoebe met at a party on New Year's Eve in Shoreham. And she met his girlfriend first, actually, and got on with his girlfriend really well. And then they ended up talking about, who her parents were, and it all clicked into place. But the other one is the Nico, whose moped you admired so much.
Oh, yes.
He is an absolute blooming natural at social media too. He's an ex-DJ, so he's quite an outgoing character, but he just is really getting into his strength. And the other night we were in Melissa Taverna, and there was a Polish pop star in there who obviously we would never have recognised in a million years. But he was, Nico was saying he's very, very famous in Poland. And I said, well, you've got to get a selfie with him. And he was like holding himself back a little bit. And I said, no, you must do this with every client that comes into Melissa's, and it gives you something else to share. And he just is really... he goes on tours of Stupa. He says all sorts of strange things he picks up. He's just a naturally outgoing person, and I admire him immensely for his irrepressible exuberance.
Nice. Now I have a question I would like to ask on behalf of the listener and myself.
Yeah.
And could we go back to the screen where I can see the time?
Oh yes, of course.
You may not have time to answer this question,
okay.
But because the question is about what you're rushing off to do next. Can you please tell us about the creative writing group in Stupa?
Yes, well, I have. I've been invited to join a creative writing group by Stephanie, whose son runs the Egg podcast. Rugby Egg podcast is
Egg Chasers.
That's it. And she's invited me to join a creative writing group, which is where they get together once a fortnight and they encourage each other, read bits of their novels out, critique each other, learn about grammar, which is quite exciting. And I'm going down there this afternoon, but they start at 1 sharp, so that's why I asked you if we could...
Yeah, but you went last week. How did you get on? This is what I want to know.
I went 2 weeks ago, and I was just there for them to see the cut of my jib.
Okay.
Whether they actually like the look of me.
Have you done any creative writing in the interim?
Well, Judith, it's interesting you should ask me that, because I was feeling a bit overwhelmed about the whole thing, and I thought, I don't know if I've got a novel in me, and I went looking for a structure, because creative people sometimes work better with structure, as I do. And I found a thing called the snowflake technique. which was invented by a guy who's written 5 novels, some of which have won awards, but who was originally a software designer. So I thought, oh, I want to like this. And basically, his snowflake technique breaks writing a novel down into 10 chunks. He's not to say they're easy, but basically what they do is they stop you from writing a manuscript, a whole story out, and then getting it rejected, knowing to go back to the drawing board. It tells you what publishers are looking for, what agents are looking for, what editors are looking for, and it helps you write your book without making too many howling errors.
Classically, a woman who's only been to the creative writing class once is immediately worried about whether or not it will get published. What I wanted to know was, do you think you'll enjoy the process of creative writing?
Yes, I've already written my 1-sentence synopsis, and I've written my, I've got my plots, and in fact you're going to be in it because you're the sage character. I'm going to use archetypes.
Oh, okay.
Right, so let's just run it past the listeners, right, and see if they're interested. A feisty young woman journeys through time, learning essential life and success lessons with each incarnation. In between, she converses with a mysterious, handsome, straight-talking mentor on a sunlit balcony.
And you wouldn't let me use the word spiritual earlier on?
No, there's going to be nothing spiritual about this.
Yeah, but that is, to me, exactly what you've said is a spiritual quest.
All right, would you like to hear the 2 paragraphs I've written so far?
Yes.
2 paragraphs, right.
Yes.
Our heroine awakens from a long, dreamless sleep in a sunlit room with billowing white curtains overlooking a cliff and a deep blue sea. She has no idea where or who she is, but she senses a deep underlying emotional and physical exhaustion. Wandering onto the balcony, pulling on a white silk robe left handily at the end of the bed, she's greeted by a handsome man in a linen suit who bears more than a passing resemblance to George Clooney, a famous actor. Famous actor from the late 20th, early 21st century. How do I even know that, she wonders, when I don't know who I am? He pours freshly squeezed orange juice and coffee, obviously not espresso.
No, quite.
Smiling sympathetically and waiting until she's settled before asking, well, I know it's way too soon to be asking about your next adventure. It's just that a perfect host is coming available any day now who would feel perfect.
Got reincarnation in it as well.
I know.
What
do you think? Are you gripped? Listen,
you are a funny sausage. You are writing a spiritual novel, but you won't let me use the word.
No, it's not. And George is not God, by the way.
I didn't think he was for a moment, because spirituality is not about religion.
I'm not going to reveal who George is because it will ruin the ending. But
all right.
I'm going to then follow the 3-act process, and the 3 acts are 3 acts of disaster, and then retro.
So actually, all that dreadful television that you watch that I can't bear, which is all about this sort of thing, vampires and what's that big thing, the Thrones thing?
Game of Thrones.
It's all quite useful because this is all like that, isn't it?
And to be honest, we've watched another series called Vikings, which is just amazing. And we're now on the last kingdom.
So they're all hero's journey type of stuff, aren't they?
Yes, they are heroes.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I've had all these weird experiences in my life where I've been places and thought I've been here before.
Yeah, deja vu. Yes. That's a spiritual experience. Sorry to keep rubbing this in.
Yeah. So, it's not actually. It's a thing about your brain anyway. You know that whole blink.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting right off the topic here.
We are. And you've got to go because it's this week's class.
Yes, I don't want to be. So,
and are you looking for? Because I've been to creative writing classes years ago, and I wouldn't go back. But because actually, I'm not a creative writer. But I know many creative writers, and I'm very impressed because, of course, the difficult thing is you have to go into the classroom and read out your work and take critique head on. Are you all right with that?
I'm a shocking show off, so I'm going to really enjoy it.
That's true.
That's what anyone thinks, so I won't mind the critique.
Well, I'd like to hear later whether that's true. Nudge me when you're home later, because I want to tell you the story about your local joggo. Okay.
I will. But
all right,
dear listeners, you do feel free. I might even write this on my Swagger and Soul blog as it goes.
Okay.
Like Robert Kiyosaki did with his last book, and
absolutely, yeah.
Stephen King does all the time now, apparently. There you go. I didn't think I had a book in me either, but I'm going to give it a good old go, and it'll be a good hobby.
Indeed it will. Indeed it will.
Yeah. Great. Lovely. Talk to you later then.
All right. See you next week. Enjoy your class.
I will. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Gotta take it on my way. It's a brand
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.